righteousness and God's righteousness. And when you start comparing yourself to the world and you start thinking that, hey, I'm not so bad as this place over here, or I'm not so bad as that person, you've already began to walk away from God. When you start comparing yourself to the world around us and think that you're okay, you're in dangerous waters. You've already drifted far from God at that point. Verse 12, let's pick up in verse 12 through 14. These are probably the saddest chapters and the saddest verses in the whole chapter to me. It says this, Then the men said to Lot, have you anyone else here? Sons-in-law, sons, daughters, or anyone you have in the city? Bring them out of the place, for we are about to destroy this place, because the outcry against this people have become great against the Lord. And the Lord has sent us to destroy it. So Lot went out and said to his sons-in-law who were to marry his daughters, get out of this place, for the Lord is about to destroy the city. But he seemed to his son-in-laws to be jesting. Wow, what happened, man? What happened to your life? The Bible tells us that you're a righteous man. We only needed 10 people. We only needed 10, and this whole thing can be avoided. What did you do with all your time in the city gates? Christian, what did you do with all your time at work, in your neighborhood, and the people that you know, in your family? What did you do with your time? You didn't even take the opportunity to try to tell others about God. And when it was too late, and you finally spoke up, they thought you were just joking. Oh, haha, Lot, you're so funny. God's really going to destroy? Who's God anyway? It's a sad thing when you're a believer and you don't even know who your neighbors are. When you haven't even taken the time to walk across the street and introduce yourself. I've had some of my neighbors who I know are believers say, well, I've never even met the person next door. It's so sad. You should be a beacon in your neighborhood of hope, of love. And people should be able to come to you with prayer requests and ask you to pray for their family. But how are they going to do that if you keep your mouth shut? Listen, God did not save you. God did not die on a cross for you to come and sit in a pew. It was not his mission. And that's not the mission he's given to us. Have you anyone else here? That statement is so sad because we know that the answer for Lot was no. When you die and you go to heaven, if God were to ask you, do you have anyone else here? What would your answer be? Most of us, it would have to probably be no. Because we've never taken the time to have a gospel conversation with anyone. And there may be a number of reasons for that. Maybe you're scared to, I don't know. Maybe you're afraid that if you do, you could lose your job, or you could lose your friend, or you just don't know what to say. All you got to do is tell them God's done in your life. And ask them if they want God to do the same in theirs. Have you used the position that God's given you to direct others to Him? Or if you just used it to gain more for yourself? Listen, Lot blew it. And honestly, I don't even think he tried. I don't even think he tried to make a difference where he was. The people didn't even take him seriously. They thought he was joking. They thought he was just kidding around. What a funny prank. Maybe it was April Fool's Day. I don't know. But he had all evening to convince someone to flee with him, and no one did. No one believed him. So verse 15 tells us this. As morning dawned, the angels urged Lot, saying, Up, take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here, lest you be swept away in the punishment of the city. But he lingered. And so the men seized him and his wife and 2 daughters by the hand, and the Lord being merciful to him, and they brought them out of the city. And as they brought them out, one said, Escape for your life. Do not look back. Do not look back or stop anywhere in the valley. Escape to the hills, lest you be swept away. Even in the face of impeding doom, Lot still had a hard time letting go of the world. Even when he knew it was going to destroy him, he had a hard time letting go. He knows if he stays, it'll kill him. But he wanted to stay a little bit longer in his sin. What is it that you're dealing with? What is it that you're messing with that you know is destroying you? Yet you don't want to let it go. You want to have just a little bit more, a little bit longer, and then I'll give it up. One more time, and then I'll let it go. Don't live your life like that, because it will destroy you. If it doesn't destroy you, it destroys the people you care about. Verse 18 through 29, this is a big portion of Scripture. It says this, And Lot said to them, Oh no, my lords, behold, your servant has found favor in your sight, and you have shown me great kindness in saving my life, but I cannot escape to the hills, lest the disaster overtake me and I die. Behold, the city is near enough to flee, and it's a little one. Let me escape there, and is it not just a little one, and my life will be saved? And he said to him, Behold, I grant you this favor also, that you will not, that I will not overthrow the city of which you have spoken. Escape there quickly, for I can do nothing until you arrive. Therefore, the name of the city was called Zoar. And the sun had risen on the earth when Lot had reached Zoar. And then the Lord rained on Sodom and Gomorrah sulfur and fire from the Lord out of heaven. And he overthrew those cities and all the valley, and all the inhabitants of the cities and what grew on the ground. But Lot's wife looked behind him, looked back, she became a pillar of salt. And Abraham went early in the morning to the place where he had stood before the Lord, and he looked down towards Sodom and Gomorrah and towards all the land of the valley. And he looked, and behold, the smoke of the land went up like the smoke from a furnace. And so it was that when God destroyed the cities and the valley, God remembered Abraham and sent Lot out of the midst of the overthrow, and he overthrew the cities in which Lot had lived. After everything that we've been up to at this point, Lot still wanted to compromise with what God was telling him to do. All Lot had to do was just do it. Listen, maybe God's laying something on your heart, and you want to seek compromise. And you're asking God, I'll do this, but I don't want to do that. God, I'll come serve in the church, but I don't want to clean the toilets. I'll obey you, God, if only you let me do it my way. That's the wrong way to live. God is not a God of compromises. Don't try to make compromises with God. Don't try to negotiate with Him. Lot did, and it nearly cost him everything. Verse 30 through 38. Now Lot went up to Zoar, and he lived in the hills with his went out of Zoar, and he lived in the hills with his 2 daughters, for he was afraid to live in Zoar. And so he lived in a cave with his 2 daughters. And the firstborn said to the younger, Our father is old, and there's not a man on earth to come to us after the manner of all the earth. Come, let us make our father drunk with wine, and we will lie with him, that we may preserve offspring from our father. And so they made their father drunk with wine that night. The firstborn went in and lay with their father. He did not know when she lay down or when she arose. And the next day the firstborn said to the younger, Behold, I lay last night with my father. Let us make him drunk with wine tonight also. And when then you go in and lie with him, that we may preserve offspring from our father. And so they made their father drunk with wine that night also. The younger arose and lay with him, and he did not know when she lay down or when she arose. Thus, both the daughters of Lot became pregnant by their father. The firstborn bore a son, and called his name Moab, and he is the father of the Moabites to this day. The younger also bore a son, and called his name Ben-ammi, and he is the father of the Ammonites to this day. And that's Genesis chapter 19:30 through 38. When you live a life of compromise, it affects those around you. Here we see a disgusting display put on by Lot's daughters of incest. Lot's friendship with the world compromised his view on God and his family's view on God. And it had devastating effects on his family. He lost his daughters, or he lost his wife, committed this awful sin with his daughters. And as a result of that, the two nations that resulted from that union became some of the most hated enemies of Israel, or hated Israel the most, God's promised people. Here's what I want to tell you. America is a mission field. And our desire, our passion as missionaries is to help local churches develop a team of leaders who know the importance of leadership by example. That they live out what they believe. That they are faithful in what they believe and what God's calling them to do. Men and women who don't live lives of compromise. Who don't give in to the world and the things that the world has to offer, because that's what, unfortunately, most of our generation has seen. They've seen men and women who say they love God, yet turn their back on their families, who steal money and embezzle all kinds of things. They see people who say that they're men of God who succumb to addictions and temptations of all sorts. And they think, if that's what being a Christian is like, why in the world would I want to do that? They haven't seen someone totally sold out for God. We want to help people become that. We want to help churches develop leaders, men and women, who will stand up and say, hey, listen, I know the world's telling you this, but here's what God says, and you can follow me in my life as I live it. Follow in my footsteps. Put that one more time, and that verse will pop up at the bottom, I think. And now it's really hard to read. But Philippians 3:17 says this, brothers, join in following my example, and note those who so walk as you have us for a pattern. Follow my life. And that's what we want to be able to do. Is help churches develop leaders who will say that to the light and look in the eyeballs of young people and say that. Because listen, America is a mission field. It is a huge mission field. According to the latest U.S. census data, there are 78 million Americans under the age of 18. And if our youth in our country were a country of their own, they would represent the 17th largest country in the world. That's larger than almost 215 other countries. That's larger than France, Thailand, UK, Argentina, Italy, and 225 other countries. Now, I believe world missions is important. And I pray that God would send people into the world who can tell others about the Lord who have never heard Him. Our youth culture is a great mission. And it's what God's called me and my family to. But we need help. We need help to do an effective job at reaching our young people and helping churches develop leaders who will be the example. We need to be fully funded in our ministry. We're looking for partnerships. We're looking for people who will help us do that. And each missionary with Word of Life is expected to raise 100% of their own support. So here's kind of what that will look like for us. Go to the next one. Here's what it takes for us to do that. For us to be fully supported, we need $6,700 a month. You can kind of see that looks kind of cluttered there on the pie chart. So I'll just tell you the biggest part of the biggest chunk of that is about 55%. That actually goes to our salary, what we live off of as a family. The rest of those little things up there go back to funding our ministry. Just like running a small business, you have office expenses, travel expenses, all that kind of stuff. And so right now we are currently at just over $5,500. And so for us to be fully supported, we need about $1,200 a month of new support. And so we're praying that God would give us, God can do this any way that He wants to. And I understand that. But we're praying for 13 partnerships. 13 people who will be able to give at a different amount. So if you can click through all that until it's at the end. We're looking for 2 who maybe will be able to do $200 a month, 3 at $100, 4 at $75, and 4 at $50. And that would give us $1,200 to be fully funded in our ministry. So that we don't have to worry about finances with how we're operating and what we're doing, and that we can do this effectively. Now in your seat, there's I handed out, there's a little piece of paper that says something about getting to know you. I would love to be able to keep you updated with what's going on in our ministry through prayer letters and things of that nature. And so if you would like to receive those on a regular basis, just fill that out with your name and address or email, whichever way you would rather have it. But if you're interested in hearing more about our ministry and how you can partner now with us, either financially or through prayer, just write that on the top. You can just write financial partnership or prayer partnership, and that will let me know how to be able to follow up with you appropriately. But our commitment to our partners is this. Number one, we're going to work faithful. We'll be faithful to the work of ministry. Hope that we've proven ourselves faithful to you as our church family. To know that we're not just kicking back and sitting in the hammock, sipping sweet tea all day. All right? But we want to be able to regularly know what God's doing as well, and be able to share prayer concerns with you and prayer blessings with you also. What else we have up there? Is that it? And to actively pray for you. And so the question is, would you consider being one of our partners? Maybe God would lay it on our heart that you would do that. And we really believe in this principle of 2 Corinthians 9:7, that God loves a cheerful giver. He doesn't want you. I don't want to make you feel like I'm twisting your arm or anything like that. I want you to feel like if you want to partner with us, that God's laid it on your heart, and that it'll be a blessing to you, and it'll be a blessing to us. And so you guys can fill that out and slip it in the offering plate. But I'm going to wrap this up right here. And let's talk about Abraham and Lot just for a little bit more. Maybe you've been living your life like Lot. Maybe the things of the world caught your eye and you become distracted from what God really wants you to do. Let me just tell you something. It's not too late to ask God for forgiveness. 1 John 1:9 says that if we confess our sins, He is faithful and just to forgive us our sins and cleanse us from all unrighteousness. You know what? God is in the business of redeeming people, even the mistakes that we make. You know that one of the greatest women in the Bible is a Moabite, a descendant of Lot and his daughter. Her name was Ruth. And God used her to bring into existence the Savior. She's in the line of Jesus. God can forgive those things. I've had personal experience of that. God can forgive the mistakes that we've made and use them for greatness. Maybe you're here today and you think, you know what? I don't have a relationship with God. I don't know who Jesus is. And my life is kind of lived like the people in Sodom and Gomorrah. And that may be you. But I want to invite you to have a relationship with God. He loves you. He died for you. He took that sin upon Himself and He died on a cross in our place. He took a punishment that we deserve. So today, if you would like to hear more about that or have a relationship with the Lord, or hear what it means to have that, or have questions about it, we'd love to talk to you about that as well. Because I promise you, our church family here is one of the most loving church families around. We have people here with all kinds of backgrounds and baggage. We are not a judgmental church. We are a loving church, and a forgiving church, and a church that desires to have a relationship with you, just like our Savior does. So I would invite you to be able to come forward here too. We're going to have just I think one song of invitation. But maybe you're here today as well, and you've got, maybe you would say, hey, you know what? My heart's not really lined up with God the way that it should be. I'm not necessarily living like Lot, but just as evidence of my own prayer life, I'm more concerned about myself. So I would like to invite all of you, no matter what category you're in, if you find yourself in one of those places and you want to make today a turning point, and say, hey, you know what? This is where I've been, but this is where I want to go. Come on up here. Just use the stage as an altar and just pray and ask God to help you do that. So, my